Testing. Testing. Test.
Hello. I'm in the building. The door's locked. I can't get in.
All right, hello everybody. I think we are getting ready to get started. This is the night of somebody forgets something, somebody else forgets something, and apparently we've got a problem with the doors into the building. Is that what you just said?
You talk into it.
Okay, it's one of those evenings. We have several items for the raffle. However, unfortunately, we do not have raffle tickets or a collector for our raffle. So you might want to peruse, and they will be back next month. And you can decide how many raffle tickets you want to purchase next month. So let's see if we can get through this evening without too many glitches on computers and Zoom and everything else. Okay, and I do want to let, for those of you who aren't aware, I'm Michelle Theisen. I'm the current president of the Fort Worth Astronomical Society. And I want to say welcome to any visitors. Do we have any visitors in the room tonight? Somebody visiting for the first time? Not tonight? Okay. Well, then I do want to go through our list of new members. These are the people who have joined since January. If you're here tonight, wave your hand so we can say hi. And I hope I pronounced this one right. Amianetta Fall, Debbie Manning, Shane Griffith, the family of Sherry Guess, David Terrence, Okay, hopefully you'll make it with us next month then, but welcome to all of you. Hopefully you're joining in on Zoom and hopefully you can just join us in person next month. I do want to recognize and thank all of the current officers on our executive board. In addition to myself, we have a board that helps make decisions for the club. We have Robert Circus, our vice president. He helps to put together, in fact, he does put together our programs for the month. He finds our guest speakers. He's put together, last month you had one from our astrophotographers. He put something together that showed us all the wonderful stuff our astrophotographers do. Our treasurer is John Geromini. Secretary is Zach Smith over there taking notes. We have 4 general board members. Tom Roth, Cy Simonson, there you are. John Baker, are you here tonight? And then Phil Stage, he's not here tonight either. I know somebody said he's on Zoom, but I've also heard there's an accident on 20 that's giving a delay to some people. Another person I wanted to recognize tonight is David Cox. For those of you who have been on the FWAS IO, apparently Mr. David Cox, one of our astrophotographers, has been out at Star Ranch, and one of his photographs of the Witch Head Nebula is on the Astropheric app, for those of you who use Astropheric, and it is the photo of the month. It is a really nice capture of the Witch Head. So thank you, and we're so proud to be represented in that way. Again, for our new members, a little bit about our club's history. We were founded in 1949 by Charlie Mary Noble. We actually grew out of a junior astronomy club. The parents liked it so much they wanted to form a club for the adults. So Fort Worth Astronomical Society was born. That was 72 years ago, almost 73 now. So we currently have 177 members in the club. And we do invite everyone to participate. One of the things I've always appreciated about our club is the diverse interests that we have. Some of us are visual observers. We like to point our telescopes in the sky and look at stuff. We have some fantastic astrophotographers who like to take photographs and do all of the stuff that they do with their programs. And I love to look at those pictures. We have some who work only with binoculars. We have some who like to go out, look at the sky and just identify things like the constellations and look at the Milky Way. We have some who do photography. I don't even know if it's called astrophotography. It's not doing the close-up of like the globular clusters and all, but those who take pictures of the Milky Way and those time-lapse photos that you see. So we've got just a whole variety of interests. So whatever you're interested in, we've got somebody in the club who can work with you, help you, answer your questions. And then we've got the e-group that we can communicate on, and you can just put your question out there and people will answer back with their best experiences. Do remember that our club is a nonprofit organization, so feel free to donate. Just make a donation to the club and you can take that as a tax-free donation. Next topic is going to be outreach. We do have March is right around the corner. We do have our regular star parties starting up at Dinosaur Valley and Tandy Hills. Dinosaur Valley, our first date for that is March the 5th. Is that correct, Patrick? Okay. As we get closer to that date, Patrick can answer any questions about where to go. Well, in fact, can we get a mic back to you and you can just sort of tell people where in the park to get to? Oh, Matt McCullough is going to get that to you.
Hello? All right. So when you get in the park, once you get to the gate, just let the rangers know you're for the star party. They'll let you in for free. So you just follow a road towards the dinosaur tracks. When you get there, don't turn left towards that. Just keep going straight, and you're going to go in the overflow park, and that's where we're going to be setting up.
Okay, set up in the overflow parking. So that will be March the 5th, and that's just a few weeks away. The following weekend is March the 12th, and our first party for the year is at Tandy Hills. John McCrae, are you out there? And I'm just not seeing you. Ah, okay. You were hidden. Okay. At least from my view. Hold on a second. We're going to get a mic back to you.
First party of the 22 season. And I'd like to invite all the new members and visitors to come out there. It's a great place. If you don't have a telescope, if you're looking for one, to look at what's available, because with the people out there, we have every major type of telescope manufactured. So come take a look at them. If you don't have, you don't want a telescope, binoculars. In fact, I'm going to bring a pair of binoculars that people can use while they're out there. But this is a great place to meet people. A lot of times we have people here that don't bring a telescope, but they just go around and they're kind of ambassadors and helping, because at many times there's a lot of people lined up at the telescope and you can't talk to all of them. So having these ambassadors come by and walk through and answer questions is a great help also. So everybody come on out. Yes. What was that? Oh, March 12th. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, John. And he speaks true that we do need people out there. If you want to come out and not bring a telescope, if you just want to come visit with the public, for those of you who are new to the club and maybe you don't even have a telescope, you'll, again, as John said, there will be several different types out there. So you can come out and sort of see what other people have and ask questions and see how easy they are to run or how difficult they are to run, and decide what it is you might want to invest in as far as telescopes. Binoculars, I took a pair out to the star party at the school last Saturday. And sometimes that's nice to have just binoculars so people can understand they don't have to spend a lot of money on a telescope. They can get a pair of binoculars and look at the sky. And I was using like a pair of binoculars that I picked up at Cabela's, I don't know, for $20 or something like that on a special. And they were pretty good binoculars. So you don't need to invest a lot of money to really enjoy yourself looking at the sky. John Baker, I don't think he was here this evening. We will be announcing another star party in March or early April. We are looking at alternative sites for star parties instead of just our standard 2. They may not be parties that we hold every single month, but it will be expanding our horizons and reaching new groups of people. John is looking into coordinating a date to work with the River Oaks Community Center. Some of you who were here several months ago, it's got a parking lot. One side of it is a place where, you know, those of us who have telescopes, we can park, work out of our cars and our trucks. And then there's an area where the public can park, and then they can just come through and look at the scopes sort of in a line. Okay, so possibly that week after Tandy Hills, which would be March the 19th. Okay, so there will be more to come on that. Is George Lutch on Zoom? Okay, George is in charge of our Prime Focus, our newsletter. If you've got something you'd like for him to maybe publish, photographs, articles. I know Matt McCullough has put together several articles on books that are interesting to read. So if you've got an interest in that, you can speak with George and he can help get that out to the rest of the club. Dark sky site. Right now, our dark sky site is Star Ranch. We do ask if you're a new member that you sort of team up with a seasoned member before you go out there, because a good dark sky site is really out in the middle of nowhere and you may not have easy directions to get there, and we don't want you getting lost. So if you'll put out an email, or if you're watching the e-group, usually people who are going out will put out word, I'm going out on Friday, I'm going out on Saturday. And you can just shout out there on the e-group and say, I'd like to go. And you can figure out a place to meet and sort of do a parade over to the dark sky side. Star Ranch, we do have electricity via solar panels. We do have a toilet available. Water is not available. So please be careful if you're a smoker. Don't throw anything down on the ground because we do not want to be the people who start that fire. If something does happen, there is a fire extinguisher in the large shed. So do keep that in mind. Access code to the gate is in the e-group under the files. So you can always look that up before you go. If you're a new member and you do reach out, remember that not everybody checks their emails every 5 or 10 minutes. So, check to see if somebody's answered your email. And those of you who are going out, if you'll maybe check your email before you leave the house, if somebody has reached out and wants to meet up, maybe you can let them know that you can meet them somewhere. Okay, there will be more information a little bit later on in the meeting because as most of you know, the property that holds Star Ranch has been sold to a new owner. The lease has been officially terminated, so we will need to be off of that property before the end of July. And the board has already started work on how we're going to decommission that particular site. I do think that tonight's presentation that Robert has put together is going to include several different alternate sites that some of our club members have been going to for observations. So hopefully you can pick up something there. Do want to remind you, you can also go onto the iOS group and check out Cafe Press so that you can get FWAS t-shirts, mugs, hats, all of that good stuff. And there is a slide. I don't know if you want to put it up now or a little bit later. We do have a group that's meeting at World of Beers after the meeting. It's just, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes down the road from here on 7th Street. And at the end of the meeting, if you'll remember, Bill, maybe put this up so people can grab that address. But if you don't want to drink beer, they've got soft drinks, they've got appetizers, they've got all sorts of good stuff. And Robert, do you want to go ahead and take it as far as the presentation goes?
Good evening, everybody. There will be 3 of us presenting this evening, myself, Brandon Hamill, excuse me, and Zach Smith. So you got 2 Aggies and I don't know about Brandon. Oh, okay. So what we're going to chat about this evening are some dark sites. I'm going to talk about Star and excuse me, a place that Shane Griffith and I found in Fort Worth. It's called Arcadia Trail Park. Brandon's going to talk about Hubbard, and Zach is going to talk about not mineral wells. He's going to talk about LBJ. So let's see what we got. No, to the left. There we go. Okay, so we're going to be talking about these 4 sites: Star, LBJ, Hubbard, and Arcadia Trail Park. So yeah. Hang on. Yeah, there's only 4 slides. There we go. So I'm going to talk about Arcadia Trail Park. This park is in Fort Worth. It's off of, whoa. Okay, can you go back and just, Okay. Okay, here we go. So Arcadia Trail Park is in Fort Worth. It's off of 377 in Basswood. I see, I thought I turned that off. Okay, so it's, okay, take it out of display then, just. Hit Control Z, please. Thank you. Okay, thank you. So Arcadia Star Park is in Fort Worth. It's off of 377 in Basswood. 377 in Basswood. It's north side, northeast. The park is on the park itself is 177 acres. It's huge. Okay, so it's actually here and here. So I need to get back. All right, it's a Bortle 8 site. Although I don't know if it's, I would call it a light Bortle 8. I do mostly imaging, so I use narrowband and I can get away with Bortle 8, but it's from my, just visually, it's pretty fantastic. Okay. You can take your equipment out to where you want to set up, drop, and go park your vehicles. I know this for a fact because I asked a cop. So he said, it's like, are you going to do this after dark? Uh-huh. Are you going to keep your car out there? No, just long enough to drop. He said, you're good. So it's a pretty good big park where we set up. We're right by the, there's a gazebo kind of thing and that kind of place. And it's on a soccer field. It's been there for a while. The ground is very hard. So that's good. Snacks, yes, it's convenient. There's a Walmart down the street and there's a McDonald's just down the street. So that's helpful. Gas, when I'm talking about sites, gas is important. There's a story behind that. And I'll tell it, not Robert Cargill, please. And I know you're here. So some pros. It's local. It's easy to get to, particularly from the HEB area. And from here, from right here, I'm going to reckon it's about 20 to 25 minutes. For Bortle 8, the viewing is really good. It's outstanding. There are no facilities except for my father-in-law lives close by, so that's convenient. And it's Bortle 8. Those are the cons. The value is, at least in my view, it's a place you can go. It's local. It's not crowded. Nobody comes and bothers you. And it, like I said, is convenient and the viewing is good. It's huge. The trees, there are trees that surround it. And when the foliage comes out, it's good. The trees will block all of the street lights and they'll block the lights at the gazebo. The trees angle roughly 15 degrees. So when you're on a tree line, it's pretty low. So that's, in my view, that's pretty good. It's a great spot. It's a lot better than my front door, my front yard. where I image. So, and so now I have an example image of that I took here at Arcadia on the 5th. So go to the next frame. So this is the Rosette Nebula, and it was taken there. 5 hours of data, and it's in my opinion, it's my best work. But it's an example of, at least from an imaging perspective, what you can get there. Again, it's convenient, it's close. If you got grandkids, you want to get them out, take them to the park and set up. So that's Arcadia Trail Park. So I'll go ahead. Let's go to the next frame. So I'm going to talk about STAR. The first thing to remember is, yes. Sure. Sure. No, there's no charge, no permit to Fort Worth Park. It's city owned. Yes. Yeah, but I would recommend that's where we set up. It's flattest and it's the least busiest, and it's got concrete ramps you can keep your car on, and then you can drive. The one thing I haven't figured out yet is whether or not it's got sprinklers and what the sprinkler schedule is. So, yes, the dog park that I occasionally use in Bedford has sprinklers, and I got surprised one evening. It's not fun. So I'm going to talk a little bit about STAR. It is, as Michelle mentioned, and I'm sure everybody knows, the lease expires at the end of July. So, but that means we have 5.5 months of use. And if you get a chance, you should go. It's a Bortle 3. I think it borders possibly on Bortle 2. But it's a great place to go viewing. We have some equipment out there right now. And as Michelle says, take binoculars. It is a dark site. So let me just go over some stuff, and got some comments here. So we don't have a street address, but we have GPS coordinates. And for those that have Waze, I'm happy to text you directions that you can use on Waze that will take you right to the lock. So anyway, so there's vehicle access, of course. If you have a lower vehicle, there's a couple spots where you might need to be careful because of the way the trail is. There's the ridge up the middle. And if the ground is soft, you want to consider that. The viewing area is approximately 2 acres. I don't know if we can view on the area that comes in before the cattle guard. I don't know, but the viewing area where we set up and where the storage shed is approximately 2 acres. You can park. There are facilities, as Michelle mentioned, and there's gas. And there's air, and I'll get to that. So the pros, it's very quiet. It's Bortle 3, no visitors. The only people that are going to be there are people that are going to be doing some sort of astronomy, whether it's viewing or imaging. You can stay overnight. The viewing is awesome. It's pretty much unobstructed. I think the trees are maybe 15 degrees, and they're on the back side of the viewing area. So if you get a chance to go, but you need to, if you're going to go, you need to plan. It's a long day. The cons, distance. From my house, and I live in HEB, I live in Bedford, it's 2-hour drive. Okay. Pardon? 115, 120 seems like, but it's about, It's about 2 hours, and a good chunk of it is not on highway. So 2-hour drive, and the lease is expiring at the end of July. So again, it's a great place. If you have an opportunity, you definitely want to take advantage of it. It's an awesome observation site. It's better than Thompson, and I really like Thompson. Okay, so that's the core of STAR. And as Michelle mentioned, if you're a new member, you know, ping the mail group, and if you want to go, someone will go with you. My advice, don't go by yourself. Always go with somebody, because it's a good distance away. There are no hospitals. It's a volunteer fire department that will take 20 minutes to get there. So I would advocate going with somebody just in case. So now getting back to gas and air. So, and there's some other thing. If you go with people and you want to meet up, they're just outside of Ranger. There are 2 good places to meet up that have decent restaurants. One's on the left side of the highway, and I think it's called the Hill, and the other one's called I believe it's called the Smokestack, and it's on the right side of the highway, and they're on the same exit. Both places are good. I'm a foodie, so I wouldn't send you anywhere that I'd be worried about that. So the thing about the gas and the air, the reason why it's important, the first time I went out there, I was in such a hurry that I wasn't paying attention to my gas. So when I got out there, I was like below E. So actually between E and I had maybe 1/8 of a tank, but I was worried. So when you get into Ranger, right, you're on 254, and when you're going to make the right at the railroad tracks, at the stoplight, the single stoplight in Ranger, there's a gas station right there on the left. And you can pump gas 24/7 if you have a credit card. And I think the last time I was out there, I picked up a nail. So my tire was low, and really low. So got to the gas station, you got a credit card, you can pump air into your tire. So those are things to keep in the back of your mind. But again, it's a great place to view, and it's a great. Usually there's 3 or 4, and I've been out there as many as 10 or 12 folks, and everybody's helping everybody, and it's a great fellowship. And that's one of the things I really appreciate about this club. So, are there any questions? Then I'm going to hand it over to the non-Aggie in the group.
Here you go, Brandon. Okay, thank you. Great, thanks, Robert. Yeah, let me do that. Hold on 1 second. We're switching AV stuff around. Okay. All right. Great. Thanks, Robert. Hey, I wanted to say something personal before I talk about the site real quick, if you don't mind. And that was 6 years ago that I got the chance to stand before all of you, and you guys made me an honorary member when I gave a presentation, which was really cool. Never happened to me anywhere else in the country I've spoken. And the other thing I want to say, it was 10 months ago April of last year, where I was able to present to this group, and then I announced that the Hamels were pulling out of Minneapolis, St. Paul, and we're heading back to, we're moving to Texas. So anyway, I just want to say you guys have really welcomed me, and I've had a chance to get to know quite a few people in this room, and I just wanted to thank you for that because I've had a lot of fun being a member of this club. All right, so here's what I want to talk to you about. A dark observing site. Whoop, we've lost my audio. Is it back? Bill's working it. He's working it. Are we good? Am I too close to this thing? No, we're good. All right, thank you for helping. I've been asked to talk about a dark observing site, and the one I want to talk to you about, I'm going to kind of walk you through this. This is one that I've kind of stumbled upon because I live in Mansfield, just south of Arlington. When I lived in Minnesota, I live in a suburb just outside of St. Paul, and I thought I had bad light pollution. But that Dallas Metroplex is on a whole nother level. I mean, it is just unbelievable. I just can't see hardly any stars from my driveway, unfortunately. Okay, so there we go. So here's what my agenda is going to look like for today. I'm going to, it's not liking this. I'm going to move closer. I'm going to move something around here because I'm losing my clicker here. There we go. I'm going to provide an overview of a location that I've often used and provide you directions. This is a very simple presentation, but I wanted to try to hit the things that I would want to know if I were in your shoes. And I'm going to talk to you about some resources that I use. Yeah. Let's switch.
Test.
Not liking me. All right, is that better? Worse? About the same. Okay, better, they say. Okay, I'm going to just talk to you about some condition. Everybody has their own tips and tricks, but I've got some ideas for resources. All right, we're good? All right, there we go. I'll speak closer. The next thing that I'm going to talk about is share some experiences and people. Some of you in this room have been with me to this location I'm going to talk about. So let's jump in. Okay, all the places we can go observing in the great state of Texas, and there are a lot. This is a nice big state. So the place I'm going to talk about, where are we off to tonight? We're off to that spot. Now I have a little arrow that's going to come in to let you know what that little red dot is. That is one of the spots I've been hanging out in. What the heck is that? That place is Hubbard, Texas, the big metropolis of Hubbard, Texas. And why do we want to talk about Hubbard, Texas? There's a few reasons why we want to make sure we talk about Hubbard. First, where the heck is it? Okay, I want to give you guys a sense for where Hubbard is located. So it's about an hour, 10 minutes, hour and 11 minutes south of Fort Worth, the city center of Fort Worth. So from my home in Mansfield, it takes a little over an hour to get there. If you're coming from Dallas, it's about an hour and a half. So it's relatively close, which is nice. So it's a little over an hour drive, hour 15. That's kind of what I usually budget, hour 20 sometimes. Depends on how slow I am. But why do you want to travel down there? Why am I taking the time to present this to you? It's because of this stuff. Now, I would love to tell you that I took that photo, but I'm not an astrophotographer. I did not take that photo, but someone else did. It kind of gives you a sense for what the sky conditions are like. I'll give you a couple more photos, again, not taken by me, but it's actually pretty nice. So it's Hubbard, Texas City Park is what it is, City Lakes Park. So let me give you a few more details here. It's hard to tell from the photo. Photos can sometimes be deceiving, but it's Bortle 4 skies. And so I think to myself, good grief, the fact that we can get to Bortle 4 skies in a little over an hour from the metro area, that's actually pretty darn nice. So this, of course, is something we're all familiar with, the light pollution map. And the little X on the screen might be kind of hard to see, so I have an arrow that's going to show up for you. Right there, that's where Hubbard is located. Now the Hubbard City Lakes is miles to the south. It's probably closer to that that number right there. So I say it's Bortle 4. It might be closer to Bortle 3, but I think Bortle 4 is probably the safest number to stick with. So it kind of gives you an idea, folks. It's pretty dark. Now, it was a long time ago when another member, Matt Reed, dragged me out to your location, your Thompson Range location. I actually think, from my memory, again, this was many years ago, I was at there, I think this site might be darker, but I'm going to leave that up to some of the others in the room who've maybe been with me. I'll point them out in a second. To compare that. Okay, so ways I evaluate the sky conditions before I go down there. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. But I use Clear Sky Chart. I know a lot of us do, but I wanted to let you know what the closest one is to that location. And it's called the Navarro Mills Lake. It's only about 10 miles from there. But this is one of the kind of gut checks I do if it's going to be worth my time to drive down there. That's the closest Clear Sky Chart that I use to go there. And I'm going to tell you more features about the location. But again, this is just if you're evaluating, if you want to make the drive down. Another thing I use is AccuWeather Astronomy. And the closest one location for that is a town called, I believe it's called Transpacia, perhaps. I'm such a, the gringo from up north, let me tell you. So thank you for that, Zach. I'll take that all day long. So Mahia, and that is the closest one that I can find from a weather perspective. Great app. I don't know. I've not found too many folks in this club that use this app, but the goal is 10 out of 10 is like spectacular scene, great sky conditions. So you get an 8 or a 7 or even a 6, it's probably going to be a good night. So what to expect when you get there? I think this is probably the most important part of the presentation, so you have an idea of just what the heck you might be getting yourself into if you come down there. Good news, the town has only one, count that, one streetlight. Kind of gives you a sense of the major metropolis that Hubbard, Texas is. They have, now don't judge me, but they have a restaurant called the Italian / steakhouse / Mexican restaurant. That is the name of this place. And the food is really good. I've been there. Other members in the club, one of the new members, Monica Merritt, went with me one time down to this location. We both stopped, and it was really inexpensive, really good food. Thank the Lord for small town America. So a place that you can eat at only a couple miles from this location if you want to eat beforehand. The observing field is located on a lake front. It's called Hubbard City Lakes. And I'll show you a picture of it in a second, but you're setting up on a field. Oh, and this is a big one. I have Verizon and I have full bar cell phone coverage when I'm down there. So when Robert was speaking here a minute ago about sometimes we go to these locations, we're out in the middle of nowhere. I know what that can be like. I've had one of my friends, she lived in a dark sky astronomy enclave in New Mexico. She had to drive 75 miles to go to a gas station. She had Bortle 1, okay, count that, Bortle 1 with no light domes on the horizon, but she had to drive 75 miles to go to a gas station, which I like astronomy. I'm not sure I like it that much. But this is nice. So I think from a safety perspective, you can reach people, you communicate with people, you're only a couple miles from a gas station. Oh, law enforcement swings by. Now, this is something I didn't anticipate, but I would say half the times I've been there, they've swung through there as just part of their normal little route they take. And they usually just make sure that we're not doing anything nefarious. Sometimes they'll even look through the eyepiece. I actually kind of like that. So I have, like I said, more than half the times I've been there, law enforcement, city or the county sheriff has come by and said hi to me. There is one drawback on this location, and it's a big one. There are no restrooms. Okay, so easier for the men than it is for the ladies, but just want to make you aware of that, that there are no bathrooms at this location. I'm going to pause just for a second. I was thinking there are a couple people in this room right now looking around here. One or two I'm not 100% sure of, but I do know, like Michelle Theisen. I don't know where she went. Michelle went there. So Michelle, again, I'm pulling out from the back of my brain when I went with Matt Reed to the Thompson location. That was probably like 8 years ago. how would you compare this location? Because I know you were able to accompany me one time to that. Is it similar? I'm just trying to gauge, get a perspective. Okay, she says very similar. And Sai was with me too. Yes, what do you want to say? Okay. Okay, gotcha. Well, thank you for that. So for those of you who didn't hear, he said that he thought perhaps Andromeda is just a little bit sharper and clearer from the Thompson location than here from a dark sky perspective, but kind of gives you a comparison. That's why I called out a couple of the folks who have come to me. Thank you both for participating. Okay, so to be clear, what is down there? What is down there is an open field. That's what we have to work with, okay? And it's set up on front of a little lake. There's about 4 or 5 of these little Hubbard City lakes, a couple miles south of Hubbard. And I'm going to make it really, really easy for you to know how to get to this place. So here's a map, and then there's an aerial photo. We set up kind of right there. These happen to be RV pads. There are 5 of them, and we kind of set up right beyond the 5th RV pad. I have never seen RVs at the RV pad, but if you have an RV, you can put one up for $15 a night, I think it is, and pay the good folks in the city of Hubbard, and they'll take your check. But let me give you some better directions. So when you come into Hubbard, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go quickly, and I'm not going to give all of these step-by-step directions. But when you're coming in, you'll see a pavilion and tennis courts, and then these RV pads. Whoops, what I just mentioned. I'm getting so excited, I'm throwing my clicker. Hold on. But some people like GPS locations, which I know our previous presenter used, so I put GPS up. Some of you like to use Google on your computer. If you Google intersection of Highway 31 West and 330 60 Hill County, it'll take you right there. Some of you like Apple Maps. If you like Apple Maps, if you take in Hubbard Lake Road and Northwest 4th Street Hubbard, it'll take you right there. Others like me, we like to use our phones. So maybe on your phone, if you're an Android person, maybe you have Google Maps. If you type in Hubbard Lakes, Texas, in that zip code, it will take you right there. If you're like me and you use an Apple phone, if you type in Hubbard Lakes Road, Hubbard, Texas, in that zip code, it will take you exactly to this location. So this is easy peasy. I got hands going up. Jim. Okay, so he says that one of the coordinates says it's portal 3. And I am probably not the best judge of that sky conditions for you to be presenting and have some level of authority. I'm sure many of you in this room might be like Danny Arthur, for heaven's sakes. I've been trying to drag Danny down there. I bet I could get Danny down there in 10 seconds if I blindfolded him and removed the blindfolds. He could say, oh, Brandon, that's a portal 4. No, that's a portal 3. So I think some of you really awesome experienced observers in this club would know almost momentarily. But Jim, thanks. We'll take a 3 over a 4 any day, right? My point is you can do a lot in a portal 4 sky. You really can. You can do a lot, obviously more in a portal 3, but I just thought that was good. So TripAdvisor made a couple comments. This was kind of interesting as I researched to put this presentation together. Hubbard City Lakes Park is one of the few remaining natural dark night skies in Texas. And then they say you can, I didn't know this, you could pitch a tent for $10 or rent one of those RV pads for 15. Hour and a half from Dallas, 2 hours from Austin is what they say. Again, about an hour and 11 minutes from here. Hubbard City Lakes. Oh, one thing I was going to mention. So you pull off the highway and then you do go onto a gravel road. Don't let that scare you too much because you're only on the gravel road for maybe 1/10 of a mile, at the most 1/5 of the mile, and then you just pull off to the left. But as they say, you might encounter a couple dips, so just go slow. Oh yeah. If it's a humid night, there will be bugs flying around. So I definitely did encounter that, but I used my bug wipes beforehand and I was in good shape. But anyway, I would say this, gang, this is a good spot. And I'm sure many of you have other spots you found. I've just stumbled onto this. This is a nice spot. I like the fact that I feel safe there. I like the fact that I can have cell phone because a lot of times I'm using Sky Safari and other apps on my iPad to look stuff up because I don't have the night sky memorized like some of you. And I would say that I like the fact that there are resources only a couple miles away. If I want dinner beforehand, or if I need to get gas afterwards. There's even like a Sonic down there. And again, one street light. There's not a lot of light pollution. There's obviously what I call the Dallas-Fort Worth Nebula to the north. There's definitely a sky dome there. There's a little bit of one to the south. I think the photos I showed you kind of maybe over exaggerates the light domes, just because that's what happens with cameras. They're more sensitive than our eyes. But any questions, comments about this place? Yes, question in the back. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so what Robert said, sure, he'll do that. And so, and then I will, I'll leave this up for a second until the next presenter comes up, and then you guys can take screenshots or whatever you need to do with this. I'll stop. Any other questions that you have? Yes, yeah. Yes. Okay. So the question is it like 1, like 2, like 3, like 4? The answer is I don't know. It's the first. So I'm coming south on the highway. If you follow these directions, you'll take a right, because you're going to be, all of us will be coming south as we're going toward this location. We're going to take a right on this little gravel road. We're going to run across a pavilion, which is basically a wooden structure. I think pavilion's a strong stretch. It's more like a shack structure. There are tennis courts that may have had tennis played in the 1950s, but haven't been kept. But then just beyond that, you're going to see basically a cement slab. They're called RV pads. It's pretty, it hasn't been well maintained. But again, we don't really care about that. What we care about is once you get beyond those RV pads, you immediately take a left, and you've got a nice big field with a great clear expanse to the south, which is where all the action's at, right? We want to have clear path to the south. And so that's why I got jazzed up about this place. It's like 3, he said. So there you go. Like 3. Yeah, I thank you for saying that, Michelle. I had someone with me who looked at their phone. I mean, everybody looks at their phones, but I forget who I was. It might have been you, Michelle. Somebody I was with said, "Oh, I have full compliments on their cell phone, and they didn't have Verizon like I did." So it was either Sprint or one of the other big ones, T-Mobile, I guess they are now. So at least I know of 2 major national cell phone carriers that you have full coverage, which is pretty remarkable. But again, we're only a couple miles south of the town. That's how we're able to pull that off. So anyway, I'm glad I had a chance to tell you guys about this location. Again, if you have any questions, just feel free to shoot me an email. It's my first name, first name dot my last name, then iCloud.com. Happy to talk to you guys or go out observing with you sometimes. All right, Robert, I'll return control to you. Yes, you're welcome.
Outstanding job. Thanks, Brandon. Good. And now Zach will present. Thank you.
We're going to switch. Oh, that's loud. We're going to switch PowerPoints. Give us just a second. All right. Okay, we're good. Excuse me. All righty, I'm going to talk to you guys tonight about, sorry about that, LBJ grasslands. So Thompson was a really great site for me because it was only like 45, 50 minutes from my house. So I was really upset when that went away, and immediately started looking for alternatives that I could use. And I've been out to LBJ grasslands many times for camping and fishing with my family. So I was like, oh, this is a pretty dark site. Let me see if I can find a good spot out there. So it's just, if you don't know, LBJ Grasslands is a national grasslands area, protected site, northwest or north of Decatur, west of or east of Alvord, in that area. It's like all these little collections of land out there. They're all open use. You can go out there anytime you want. I will say, if you're going out there during hunting season, make sure you're prepared. Usually not a problem at night, but early in the morning it could be. But yeah, so tonight we are also, it's 75 miles of trails if you're into that kind of thing, which is really fun. Lots of popular spots out there. The Black Creek Lake is their only official, I guess, recreation area that actually has amenities. The Valley View Campground is also a good spot. They do have facilities there, but there are always people at that location that I found. So we've had a couple of members that have posted about going to observe out there, and there's always people out there. Clear Lake and Rhodes Lake are also popular destinations for lots of reasons. They're great spots. Cottonwood Lake is what we're going to talk about tonight, which is this little spot right here. So you can see it's almost directly north of Decatur. And Decatur down here, Bridgeport and Alvord right there. Thompson was, I think, over this way somewhere. I'm not 100% certain, but it's really close to this spot. Very familiar. You'll recognize some of the roads when you go out to this location, for sure. All right, so Cottonwood Lake. Oh, let's go back. There we go. This is, I put in the UNT Heath Sciences Center here. So it's about 58, almost 60 miles up from here to Cottonwood Lake, just going straight up 287, and then you turn off in Decatur and go up the country roads up that way. I will say, getting out to this location when you get to the grasslands, these roads are not, they're not paved, but they're stone gravel type roads. Though out at Cottonwood Lake, they did just regrade the road, so it's nice and smooth right now. The next big rainstorm will probably take care of that, but it's still not a bad drive out there. You can take a car out there, no problem. You will see lots of people camping out there, and I'll shoot the photos here in a minute. But it's like I said, it's an open use facility. You don't have to have a permit or anything unless you're going to be doing group camping at Valley View or at the Black Creek Lake. Otherwise, it's open year round, unless they close it occasionally for prescribed burns and things like that. But that's all posted on their, which I did not think that was out in the revised presentation. Coordinates are up there. Again, we're going to share these presentations so you can all see these. Let's see if this works. There we go. So this is a Google Maps view. So if you put in Cottonwood Lake in your GPS or in like Google Maps, this is where you'll get. This is like the little fishing dock over here. The area I like to set up is on the other side of the dam. So this is also part of the TADRA, T-A-D-R-A trail system for horseback riding. But there's a great little spot right here before you get on the dam road to set up. It's a flat area. It's great. You've got great view of the sky, 360 degrees around. The only concerning thing that really worried me were these two radio towers right here. This guy I don't see very much. There are two giant radio towers here, and I'll get to those in a minute. They are not a problem at night. They go into a night mode and they're not very bright, and they use red lights, thankfully, so it's not too bad. There's another lake back this way called Small Cottonwood Lake. So sometimes people camp down in this area. There are lots of camping down on the Forest Service road that goes down this way, but nobody seems to camp up here because it's kind of out in the open. So here are some pictures from the daytime. I can't really see them all, but looking south here, this is the entrance road that I usually come in. This is coming from towards Alvord. And this goes back to the TADRA trailhead back this way. There's the main lake, Cottonwood Lake, and this is the dam road I was talking about that goes across. This area is nice and flat and perfect for setting up a telescope or whatever. Looking west, looking east, this is that smaller lake. And then these are the radio towers I was telling you about. They are close, but again, I didn't see any problems with it when I went out there last time. And here's a picture. There we go. I will have to look that up. The question was, what is the farm, or it's actually a Forest Service road out there getting into the park. I'll have to look up what the farm to market road is to get out there, and we'll put that information out. I took this with my iPhone, so this is I wanted to show how bright the towers were. They're not that bad. This is the light dome from probably Denton or somewhere over there. But that's they were actually doing a prescribed burn when I went out there this night across on another part of the property. So that's what this is going on over here. I was planning to take pictures and show what kind of imaging I got out there, but there was a lot of smoke in the air, so it did not work out very well for me. But yeah, that was with just my iPhone, so it worked out pretty well. I'd say it's a border. I'm sorry, we have a question. I don't know if these were the same ones. No, because that one's a single tower. These are two towers right by each other. That one for Thompson, there's several out that way. Yeah, I don't think these are the same ones that you see at Thompson. So it is a Bortle 4 according to the light pollution website. I did put the stats up there, but you can't see them. They're behind the Zoom thing. It's very close to Thompson. I looked up Thompson as well. It was pretty close. So it is a Bortle 4. It's a great for, I do a lot of imaging, and that's what I enjoy. And so that's what we do out there. I think it would be fine for visual as well. It looks pretty good to me. Again, no lights, no artificial lights anywhere in that area. The only danger would be somebody camping if they set up a big bright light. But usually, like I mentioned, they set up way further back in the woods, so you don't really have a problem from that. You will get the occasional Forest Service personnel driving by or trucks coming in to go camping somewhere. So you'll occasionally have somebody to drive by, but it's not very often. I think that's all I had. Yep. Any questions? 2560. It may be a county road, yeah. Yeah, 20. Yeah, it's a very familiar drive if you're used to Thompson. Yeah, it's a very similar sky to Thompson in my opinion. So it's great. So for me, from my house to this location, it's about 50 minutes, 45 minutes, so not bad. And I live in North Fort Worth. Any questions? Sweet, short and sweet.
Exactly. I did forget to mention one thing about Star. At least on my iPhone, full bars out there, surprisingly, and I've used that as a hotspot to get some information that I needed. So there is plenty of cell phone coverage out there. So, thank you very much.
I know. Thank you, Robert, very much. I think that since I saw Jerry Gardner on Zoom, I asked Tom to reach out to him. And for those of you who are not familiar, Jerry Gardner is a member of our club. Recently, like I believe it was August, September of this past year, he took a full-time position at 3RF, the Three Rivers Foundation campus, to work out in that area. So I thought maybe he would, since he's on Zoom, want to share with us some of the things he's been doing out in 3RF. So is his audio on? You have to unmute yourself, Jerry.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Is it loud and clear?
A little bit louder.
Let me see if I can get a little closer to the mic.
That's much better. Thank you.
Okay, I'll just try to talk a little closer to the mic. I don't have a headset. How's everybody doing tonight?
I think everybody's doing pretty good. It's good to
All
see
right.
you.
Good to see you. Good to be at one of the meetings. I've been working pretty hard out here out west, so I apologize for being a little disconnected, but I wanted to log in tonight and touch base with everyone. Can you see me on the screen? I don't know what you're able to look at.
Yes, we can see you.
Okay. Are you wanting me to kind of talk a little bit about what's going on out here at Three Rivers? Uh-oh.
All right, Jerry, you're frozen if you can hear us.
There you are. Just full disclosure real quick. It's real windy out here right now. I am on campus, and when it's really windy out here, the internet connection is a little unstable. So I'll do my best to get through this. And if anybody has any questions, you can always email me. But I'll do the best I can to get through. Thanks for asking me to join your meeting. For those that don't know, I'm Jerry Gardner. I am the director of our astronomy programs at the Three Rivers Foundation, which is located in Crowell, Texas. We have a 6,000 acre facility out here. However, only about 50 acres of it is allocated to our astronomy programs and actual campus. We have several observatories with some other observatories being constructed. In the last couple of years, due to COVID and construction, we've kind of slowed down a little bit. But this year, our programs will be taking off again in April. April the 2nd is our first public event. We also have other events that are booked, scout groups, things like that. We are actively recruiting additional volunteers and new volunteers. In fact, just here recently, I've signed a few FWAS members to our volunteer corps, and we hope to see them out here soon. We have a couple of really neat things going on out here. We have a remote observatory that has just wrapped up completion. It's a very flexible solution. We can do solar projection, solar imaging. This image of the sun that you see in my background was actually taken out of that observatory through an H-alpha telescope. We can do planetary projection. We can do lunar projection, deep space imaging, wide field imaging. This has been my project since I came on board. I'm going to share my screen for just a second and show you a few pictures if that's okay. This is a picture of our 15-inch refractor. This is located in our 26-foot ash dome. This is a marvelous instrument to look through. If you have never looked through any of our systems, this would be a great time to get out. This year we have, like I said, some of our programs are kicking back off due to construction and COVID. The COVID, we're all kind of ready to get back to the normal. I know it's still kind of plaguing us a little bit, but we are excited to get our astronomy programs kicked off again. Another image of the refractor. I took these images, I think, actually, these images were taken at one of our FWAS events maybe 2 years ago. So if you're an active member with FWAS, obviously you know that they have a yearly outing out here, and with us firing back up this year, you might want to think about getting on the schedule a little early. But I think there's still plenty of time to get on the schedule if y'all want to try and make a trip out later this year or sometime over the summer. Here's a picture of Uranus that we pulled out of the Conley Observatory probably about 2 weeks ago. I was doing some tuning, pulled this picture of the moon out just a few nights ago. We're on full moon tonight, it looks like. This was just the other night leading up to our current full moon.
Jerry, we're not seeing the photos that you're talking about. We're still looking at the refractor.
Oh, really? How about now?
No, not yet. I think if you click on the picture and it shows the view next to it, but it's not flipping from picture to picture. There, this should work. There we go.
How's that? Is it flipping from picture to picture now?
Yes, now it's going picture to picture. Thank you.
Okay, so I apologize for that. This is another image of our, I'll just back up just briefly. Here's the image of the refractor. We had a couple more, as I mentioned. These were taken at one of our FWAS events, I believe 2 years ago. I was just playing in the observatory. Here's an image of Uranus that we took out of our Connolly Remote Observatory probably last week, I believe it was. I was doing some tuning to our planetary setup. An image of the moon. This is a system in our Connolly Observatory that I've recently wrapped up. It's got a QHY 268 monochrome camera, off-axis guider, loaded filter wheel, new Pegasus focusers on the Takahashi TOA 150 system there, the larger system. The smaller system on piggyback will be a Coronado Solar Max H Alpha solar scope with a Player One Apollo M Max camera. We're really excited about this system. It makes some really neat images. Again, another shot of the Apollo camera on top of the Coronado. This is our planetary setup. This is a pretty rare telescope. I don't see many of these around. It's a Vixen VMC 330L. It is a Mac CAS design. It was donated to Three Rivers by one of our longtime volunteers to utilize in the Connolly. I'm currently looking at the transit database for exoplanet research and learning how to fulfill some exoplanet research options using this telescope. A piggyback on this telescope is a Skywatcher Esprit 100 for wide field imaging. Another image, this is our remote observatory. It's been inoperable for quite a while, but it was my first project after I hired on to get this fully operational. And actually just yesterday, I wrote the email to the front office that it's 100% operational. We can do solar projection for groups, star parties, and crowds. Basically, we open the observatory and do perform live projection of the H alpha sun. Basically, anything the observatory will do, we can do live in our classrooms. We are wrapping up a lot of construction on site. We are constructing a new Roloff Observatory that is identical to the 30-inch with TMB 8-inch carbon fiber refractor, a Ritchie Creighton telescope, and 2 star chairs. If you're familiar with our facility, we have some star chairs that are motorized and you can move around with binoculars. It's been our founder's wish for a long time to have these deployed. We finally have a plan to get them deployed. We have a pavilion being constructed that will house a larger classroom. A lot of the construction will probably be wrapped up this year. We are also, if you're familiar with McDonald Observatory, we are constructing an amphitheater on the campus near the pavilion that will look a lot like the amphitheater located at McDonald Observatory, but a little smaller. Theirs is kind of large. Ours will be a little smaller. What else? Obviously, we've got plenty of cabin space, bunkhouse space. None of that has really changed much. We have a really dark sky. We are starting the application process to become IDA certified, which is International Dark Sky Association. This is a very extensive process and takes 3 to 4 years. We are planning to deploy another observatory for visual solar observing instead of just solar projection out of an observatory. If you have any questions, comments, you want to get a hold of me, just ask me anything. My email address is jerryg@3rf.org. Let's see what else. We have a really beautiful sky out here. It's I would call it a really dark Bortle 2. We do have some very slight interference from Kroll, a very small light dome from Paducah, and a really small light dome from Quanah. Other than that, it's all sky. It's been real windy lately. It's been kind of dusty. We have been battling a little bit of dust. So that will kind of muddy up the sky just a little bit. But here lately, aside from the cold snap that we just came out of, it's been beautiful. If there wasn't a moon out here, I would be imaging right now. But we have a full moon tonight. It's so dark out here. I can walk outside and make my way around campus. The moon lights up the whole campus. I know generally folks visit on a moonless night, and the moon does wash out the sky for a lot of us hardcore astronomers. But I'm here to tell you, the moon lights up the whole campus here. It's quite a sight. I will be playing a full-time role into the future. I will have residents set up on campus. Anytime you want to come out and sign up as a volunteer, let me know. I can get you set up with that. We are also going through phase 1 of an equipment sale. We have a few items up for grabs. We have received approval from our benefactor that will allow us to trade out some of our older, well-used equipment for schedule. Those of you that are familiar with our facility, we have a ton of equipment that has been very well used over the years, and we're getting ready to do some innovations. So we don't want a bunch of equipment that's going to sit around unused. while technology improves. So we have some plans to trade some of the equipment out. If you're interested in getting on a list or inquiring about some of our equipment, let me know. Our volunteers are getting basically a good bit of information on what's going to be up for grabs. What else? Things are going good out here. We're ready to get fired back up. April is right around the corner. We have 3 consecutive weeks in March for scouts, and then April will be upon us. April 2nd will be basically our first public event for the month, as well as a weekend set aside for private bookings for every month as well. A lot of neat stuff going on out here. If anyone's interested and gets a chance, feel free to come out during one of our scheduled events. We have cabins you can rent. We have bunk space you can rent. If you come out on an event night and you're a volunteer, we actually provide you your sleeping situation and feed you. Good stuff. Nothing really changes out here but improvements. So hopefully I'll get an opportunity to see all of you this year. And I hope that you plan on coming out. And if anyone wants to collectively learn more about how to be a volunteer or learn more about our site in general, feel free to contact me at jerryg@3rf.org. I will put the email address in our chat so that everybody will have it. And I guess that's it for now. I'm sorry, I wasn't really prepared to, I was just joining the meeting tonight to kind of see what everybody was up to and what y'all were going to talk about. But I apologize. Shoot me an email and I'll be happy to talk to you about it.
Thank you, Jerry. I appreciate you very much. I saw you were up on the Zoom, and I just wanted to take advantage of your presence to find out what was going on at 3RF since you've been out there. So thank you for sharing. And yes, our club should be out there later on this year. I think we're going to work for late spring, early summer, getting out that way.
Awesome. I'll be real happy to see you all and show you all what's been going on out here.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Out there late spring, early summer, and that way if something happens and it has to be rescheduled, we'll still have time further in the year. Okay, I wanted to talk a little bit about elections because those will be coming up just a few months from now. Again, for those of you who are newer members, we have a year that runs July 1 through June 30th. And so that is the year that our board members serve. We introduced the different positions on the board earlier today. I would really like for everybody to think about if you would be willing to take one of those positions, because number one, it's always good to have new blood on the board because everybody thinks differently. Everybody has different ideas. And to number two, according to our bylaws, each position can only serve a certain number of terms. And I've already served 2 one-year terms. So we will definitely have to have somebody step up to take the president's role. Again, I've tried to show everybody, anybody can do it because I can do a fancy PowerPoint presentation. I purposely have not done that simply because I want everybody to know you don't need to do that. You don't need to have perfect hair. I work from an outline. I'll be more than happy to pass that on to the next president so you can play with it however you want to do it. But again, any of our positions that you might be interested in serving would be greatly appreciated. And again, I took on roles starting several years back. First is treasurer secretary, simply because I was enjoying the club and I wanted to give a little something back. So if you're willing to look at the possibility of helping us out for about a year, that would be great. Okay. Nominations will be in May and we will have voting in June on those positions. And then the new board will take over July 1. We will, as is customary, the older board members will always work with the new board members to make sure information is passed on and you're not working by yourself. You're not just having something land in your lap and you don't know what to do. So you do not need to be scared in that area. As a reminder, we are going to be focusing our energies working with Palo Pinto Mountains State Park, as far as trying to work with them to build an astronomy area out there. Mark, you're here. Did you want to say anything tonight regarding the Palo Pinto Mountains? Okay. March the 5th, we do have a meeting, 10 o'clock Saturday morning out in Strawn, Texas. The club itself is a member of the Friends of Palo Pinto County. You're also welcome and encouraged to join as an individual to help support the park. They have in their original game plan had an area set aside for astronomy. We're going to be working towards helping them to develop that area. Not all at one time, but start with areas where we can help hold public star parties. And that is where our focus is going to be as far as having a place to work with. For those of you who do plan on going March the 5th, if the weather permits, they will also be hiking after lunch. So that if you want to hike a state park before it becomes a state park, the ranger's going to take us on and do that. We are going to continue our search for land. That is not something we are abandoning. I know George Lutch and several other members do come up periodically with pieces of land. Unfortunately, some of what is out there, a lot of what is out there is in areas that are going to be developed anyway. So we don't really want to invest a lot of money in a 5-acre piece that's going to have a lot of, 30 other 5-acre people around us putting up a bunch of lights. But we are continuing to put our feelers out, see if we can find somebody who will work with us for a few acres in a dark area. Earlier we touched, hold it, I have a question. George Lutch, yes, and for those of you who couldn't hear, the question was, who is the point of contact for land acquisition? George Lutch has been the person who's been working with us on that. He has a question. Okay, the land that was just a little bit north of Star Ranch that was recently put out there is 5 acres. I don't know that we have seriously looked at that again because it's one of those 5-acre plots that's in an area where you're going to have a bunch of people with 5 acres that are going to put up a bunch of houses and a bunch of land, a bunch of lights. So I know that the other day we went up to visit Larry Barker in Gainesville, and it's somewhat the same situation where, and he's always talked about it, where it used to be dark, but then as people move in and take their pieces of land, it gets to be more and more light pollution. So again, we're still looking. I know a couple of people who know some people who have these large ranch lands down close to Meridian, and they're just keeping their feelers out to see if maybe there's an acre or two that we might be able to grab off of them. We did talk earlier about decommissioning Star Ranch. Does somebody keep raising their hand? Okay. The board did meet last week. We don't normally meet in February, but we went ahead and had a meeting just so we could get started on how we're going to go about decommissioning Star Ranch since our lease is up. We are looking at storage facilities. Tom Roth has a contact that we think is going to be able to get us an extremely good price on a couple of storage areas, because we will, until we have someplace more permanent where we can put storage facilities, we'll have to have someplace where we can store our telescopes and other items that we have collected. We will be working with Mike Jones and Mike Honor and getting their advice on the best way to deal with the large 19-inch telescope that's out there, and if that is something that we want to hold on to, if it's something we need to let go of and just hold on to the mirror and redevelop that telescope. So there are areas we're working on. Again, the lease is up July 31st, according to the paperwork that we have. And so we will be planning out different ways to do things. We can, once we have storage area, we can start moving some of the equipment over, some of the items that are used all the time, things like the solar panels, things like the toilet that's out there. All of those will be last minute items that won't go till the very end, so that it will still be a useful and comfortable facility for us. Okay. Any questions that you want to have or might have on what's going to be happening? Okay, if you do ever come up with any questions, feel free to email myself or someone else on the board, and we can help answer those questions for you. But we are actively working on that so that we're not cut up. We didn't want to be caught off guard at the last minute trying to scramble to find something. So we're already starting to make our plans in that area. John, do you have a report that you'd like to share with us? Do you have a verbal report? Okay. Yes. Apparently, we do not have our raffle tickets and support. So yeah, you were stuck in traffic apparently earlier when we announced that. So those of you who want to come see what's going to be available, it will be available next month, and you can purchase your raffle tickets next month and get those. We are going to work on planning a spring picnic. It will be different from what we've had in the past, obviously, because we do not have access to Thompson's. Zach was going to be working with Mineral Wells State Park to see if we can use their group area. Do you have anything you want to share on that?
Can you hear me now? Okay, yeah. Yes, they have reserved the group hall for us for free. And we are going to hold a star party there that night, or host one there for them, for us and for the public as well. That's the arrangement we've got with them right now. It'll be the weekend of April 1st, which is a new moon that weekend. So it should be, if the weather holds, it should be a great night.
And that is going to be the same night, I think, Patrick, as Dinosaur Valley. Is that correct? Yeah. So we will have a little.
So it'd be April 2nd. I'm sorry, that
Yeah.
weekend, the weekend of April 1st. Yeah, April 2nd. Yeah.
Okay, so we will have a couple of things going on that night. Again, we'll sort of have to coordinate our picnic park. Their picnic area, will we have places to cook out on?
Yes, the group hall has a kitchen facility as well as dining area. We can also do grills and all of that stuff out there as well.
Do they have gas grills
I
available?
don't think so. We could bring some if we need to.
Okay, we will figure that out.
Yes.
We will have food. And traditionally, we have always had the club, some of the volunteers in the club will cook burgers and hot dogs, and then those coming to the picnic will bring side dishes and desserts and things like that. So we will get all that figured out before that happens. We've already talked about 3RF. We have talked about outreach. So let me just ask if there's anybody who has any questions, any of the board members have anything they want to bring up to the general population of the club? Oh, apparently we've got more freebies. We do have some freebies over here. We're clearing out former club members' attic. And so, yes, we've got some goodies in here if you want to come look. And Matt has been instrumental in helping get all of this taken care of. So thank you, Matt, for helping with that.
Yeah, somebody reached out to me and they're trying, he's old astronomer and he wants to get rid of his equipment, and I'll post it on the e-group, but it's like a 12-inch meat he's willing to get rid of if people are interested. So I'll post that tomorrow. So just let you know that'll be out there.
Anybody else? Okay, we will go ahead and call it an end to the meeting. And don't forget, World of Beers. Put our slide up so people can look at that before they leave, if they want to grab an address. There it is. So please feel free. World of Beers after the meeting, but as far as anything formal for discussion, fine, and we'll be hanging around if you have any questions, holler at us, okay? Thanks. Oh, hold it. I see a question. Hold on a second. Let me give you a mic.
Hi, I moved from California to Texas, and I have a 10-inch Celestron telescope, Dobsonian. I've hurt my back, and it's just too much for me. I was hoping to sell it. I don't even have any idea what it's worth. I know what I paid for it. It has the extended due thing for it, with one eyepiece. I was just hoping then that I could possibly get rid of it.
Right. For those of you who couldn't hear clearly, we do have like a 10-inch Celestron Dobsonian. Is it a manual or a go-to? Is it a manual Dob or is it a go-to? It's a manual Dob. Okay. It does have the computer for it. So if you would like to go ahead and put some feelers out, if you'll leave your, if you don't become a member tonight, if you'll leave your name and number with us, we will get back with you and see if somebody is interested. We'll put that out on the e-group, okay? Okay, anybody else? Okay, thank you very much for both of those who are here and those who are on Zoom.